Hello, BookTube. We have yet more books to go through as the year winds down. We have a few more days left of book hauls, and I love your company while I'm doing it, so I thought we'd go through this again. We have lots of other things to talk about, but I've got mail in front of me now, and I'm eager to see what they are, and it feels wrong to open them without you now. We end with a box and a cardboard package of some kind, and a misbehaving puppy. A misbehaving puppy who's getting a pass on misbehaving because she's teething. Her teeth are falling out. And it's not just the little pebbly baby teeth in front. Those fell out and have been replaced with beautiful permanent adult teeth. It's not those anymore. Those I could ignore, and I didn't cut her any slack for those. No, she's now starting to lose her real teeth. She's starting to lose her fangs and her big carnassials and her incisors, and that's not good. That's not good, is it? No, that's not good. Oh. She's almost lost the will to maul. But anyway, trusting that she'll behave herself for the little bit of time it takes to do this. Let's see what we've got here. Let's see what kind of trouble we can get into. And also, I should point out, as we wind down the year, I noticed that I have more subscribers, and some of you are probably getting on in years and forgetful. So I want to make sure to stress what I try to stress often on this channel, which is that in this mail haul and in any other mail haul, including used book mail hauls, if you see something that you really want, a book that I hold up that is, you know, the heavens opening up and the angels singing on high, oh, then let me know in the comments field or email me, and once I've done my duty by it, if I don't want it, then I will get it I will send it to you. I'd be happy to mail it to you wherever in rural New Zealand you happen to live. I do it, for those of you who are new to the channel, anybody who's in the comments field can tell you, I do it all the time. I mail books all the time. I love doing it. It's not an imposition at all. And it's a great joy to me to know that if a book really rings your chimes, that it's going to the right home. Because a lot of these aren't the right home. I'm not the right home for a lot of them. So, you know, just let me know. And also, if you feel like reviewing a book for an audience, let me know that too. I would also like to know that. So anyway, what have we got here? Okay, the first one's it looks like a paperback original. It's a paperback. It's clearly finished, but I don't recall it ever coming out in hardcover. It's Beneath the Mountain by Luca De Andrea. An austere cover. A cursed place, a cold case, a killer who left no trace. What does that mean? It's almost a rhyme. Leaves a perplexed look on my face, of which does a simple trace. But we'll find out apace. Let's see here. This comes out right away in the new year, right January 2nd. And it takes place in the Dolomites. I have trekked over every inch of the Dolomites. How interesting. I don't think I've ever read a murder mystery set in the Dolomites. When a tragic accident high in the peaks of the Dolomites leaves behind a sole survivor, a long, cold case becomes a chance for redemption in Beneath the Mountain. Completely engrossing and deeply atmospheric. Slow down there, Seymour. I'll quite literally be the judge of that. And, although here's the Italian press liked it quite a bit. This brilliant debut thriller. Oh, it's a debut. Oh, great. This brilliant debut thriller is an exhilarating story of dangerous obsessions and small town secrets set against a gorgeous yet eerie landscape. Drawing worthy comparisons to Stephen King's classic horror novels and Stieg Larsson's The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, let's hope he sets his heights a little higher than either of those. This page-turner is sure to leave readers breathless as it masterfully reveals the terrifying truth behind a crime that has haunted a community for decades. Okay, all right. Well, I certainly agree with gorgeous yet eerie landscape. I remember vividly my time in the Dolomites. I remember vividly the dogs that I spent it with. So we start off with a thriller. A cursed place, a cold case, a killer who left no trace. And we'll move on. What's this next one here? And you can't see because she's right next to the laptop. But Frida is now looking at me mournfully because she doesn't feel good. I mean, she feels just fine, but her mouth, which is her primary source of entertainment, suddenly hurts her. And there's nothing I can do. I can reassure her. I hold her all the time now, but there's nothing I can do until those teeth come in. She lost her front left bottom fang, and it just popped out a little burst of blood, and then perfectly fine. And it's already erupting. The new one is already erupting from the gum. It's just been. It caught me on the wrong foot when it started to happen this week, because it's been so long since I had a puppy this age. An enormous amount of time, longer than most of you have been alive, since I last dealt with a puppy who was just milky brand new. So it caught me by surprise, but we'll both get through it. And you'll have tedious updates about it all throughout the year. Oh, great. Oh, fantastic. Okay. I read a chunk of this already, and it is one of those general nonfiction books that is just written the dickens. Just where even if you're not interested in the subject, the way the author tells the story is just going to keep you going. This comes out in May. It's called The Last Cowboys, and it's by John Branch. And it's about a rancher family, who have been trying desperately for 100 years to hold on to their property, and they've had to make all sorts of allowances to, the new reality of the world in order to do that, in order to make enough money to do that. Let's see here. The author, John Branch, is a Pulitzer Prize-winning reporter, and here he presents a gripping portrait of one family's determination to keep an age-old American Western tradition alive through surprising means. And the means is rodeo saddle bronc riding. A gifted storyteller, in this case, that's absolutely true. Branch takes readers to the magnificent red soil and rocky arroyos of southern Utah, where the Wright family of Smith Mesa has raised cattle and world champion saddle bronc riders for generations. Some call them the most successful rodeo family in history. Now Bill and Evelyn Wright, parents to 13 children and grandparents to many more, find themselves struggling to hang on to the majestic landscape where they've been running cattle for 150 years. And Branch gets right into that struggle. And gosh, the writing. And especially the family themselves, the Wrights, especially the parents. I mean, there's one particular grandkid who will tug at your heartstrings. And one of their children is like a Hollywood action lead. So there are great personal portraits all around, but it's Bill and Evelyn Wright that are the highlight of the book, especially, I have to say, Bill Wright, who's not at all appropriate, but who's mighty darn funny every time he's quoted. And I read a bit of it. I greatly look forward to reading the rest of it, because it's a fantastic, spirited look into a world that most of us don't know anything about, me included. So that's fantastic. All right, The Last Cowboys. I haven't read the whole thing yet. The author could tank, but right now, from what I've read and what I know about it, I can actually recommend it. But we'll see. We'll see closer to the spring. So let's see. Let's see what this next one is. Oh, fantastic. All right, great. I think we've seen this already. Maybe not. This comes out in April. All these things are coming out in the spring. This is Steve Broussat, and it's The Rise and Fall of the Dinosaurs. He is an uber nerd rising star in the paleontological field, and he's finally written a book. And this is the soup to nuts story, which we know in broad outline and we know in great detail. The only thing that I would worry about is that earth-shaking, paradigm-resetting discoveries are made literally every year. So you do a book like this because every season needs one. Every decade needs one. But I think if you're somebody in his field, you write this with one eye towards, your own obsolescence. That either he will have to update this or someone else will have to write this in another 10 years. But that doesn't stop these from being really good. Like for instance, one of my favorite of them of all, of the Dinosaur Harries by Robert Bakker. A lot of the stuff in there is old news now or has been rethought or overturned. And the book is still fantastic. I would still recommend it to anyone as a dinosaur book. And I'm sure that I will think about this the same thing. We shall see. We shall see. I can't wait. You've got all the different marquee breeds on the cover there, but the way that dinosaur research is going, I think we're not far away. In fact, it's happened in children's books already. We're not far away from books like this in which the T-Rex doesn't look like that anymore. The more dinosaur research is done, the more it looks like that is a mistake. And that it's a mistake no different than if you did a bird book and had them naked on the cover without their feathers. It looks like T-Rex was covered in a thin multicolored down. It's just very hard for Steve. So I don't know that I will ever accept that. But I think kids, for instance, 6-year-olds now who are studying dinosaurs, I think they will grow up in a world in which they look back at things like this, pictures like this, and say, well, yeah, they had it wrong. I commend their enthusiasm, but that's not what a T-Rex looked like. I don't know. I don't know. But let's forge on here. Okay. Okay. Do we have any material here? All right. This is looks like a novel of some kind. Comes out in March. It's called Everyone Knows You Go Home by Natalia Sylvester. I'm just assuming that I read that title correctly and that there's not a comma missing. It's a novel. The first time Isabel meets father-in-law Omar, he's already dead. An apparition appearing uninvited on her wedding day. The second book in 2 mail hauls in which there's an apparition. Her husband, Martin, still unforgiving for having been abandoned by his father years ago, confesses that he never knew the old man had died. So Omar asks Isabel for the impossible. Persuade Omar's family, especially his wife, to let him redeem himself. Isabel and Martin settle into married life in a Texas border town, and Omar returns each year on the celebratory Day of the Dead. Every year, Isabel listens, but to the aggrieved Martin and his wife, Omar's spirit remains invisible. Oh my, I'm kind of hooked. Okay. All right, fantastic. So Everybody Knows You Go Home comes out in March. All right. Well, I wasn't expecting to be intrigued by the made-up stories when I've got a book on dinosaurs. But let's see. We'll do the cardboard now. First, we'll do this box. What can this be? Book 2. I know you've heard me say this before, but I love my job. And one of the main reasons why, in addition to being able to work with no pants on, is that I get Penguin Classics in the mail. In this case, 3 of them. Oh my, okay. It looks like these are squarely aimed at Black History Month. I'd be willing to bet that's what this will say. They're 3 classics of black literature. There's Not Without Laughter by Langston Hughes. Look at that cover. Wow. And then Black No More by George Schuyler, Schuyler. I don't think that Penguin has ever done Black No More before. And again, look at that cover. Incredible. And then a classic, this is Nella Larson's Passing, which even now in 2017 retains all of its power to unsettle. It is a deeply unsettling book. Oh wow, okay, yes, all right. So it is for Black History Month, and they're doing these 3 and 3 others. They're doing Souls of Black Folk by Dubois. They're doing The Blacker the Berry by Wallace Thurman, and oh wow, look at that, fantastic. They're also doing Claude McKay's Amiable with Big Teeth, which was just given a high-profile reprint treatment last year, and already it's a Penguin classic. Wonderful. So, and those 6 are going to form the nucleus of a great library. That's fantastic. What wonderful news. Okay, so we have those 3. 3 Penguin Classics out of a set of 6. I imagine I'll get the other 3 someday, probably in the new year. And then we have this thing. I have no idea what this is. It's huge. It's pressed flat, so it can't be a pizza. And I'm not a hipster douchebag, so it can't be a vinyl. So what could it be? I have no idea. How can a book be this size? Unless maybe it's a kid's book. Let's see if it's a kid's book. It is a kid's book. Oh, boy. Oh, no, it's not a kid's book. It's better than a kid's book. It's a catalog. Oh, wonderful. It's a catalog with order sheet. Fantastic. And it's for Da Capo Press, which is right here in Boston. Oh, boy. Oh, fantastic. All right. So, and I love them. I absolutely love Da Capo Press, and I've reviewed a great many of their books. So, of course, when we get to the paperback section of this catalog, I'm going to be looking. I haven't had much luck with the catalogs I've had, considering how many books I review, but I'm going to be looking. So we have, first one is about baseball. The second one is an immigrant memoir. Oh, okay. The third one is 1983, subtitled Reagan and Drop-Off and the World on the Brink by Taylor Downing. Now, ordinarily, as I think I've mentioned ad nauseum on this channel, ordinarily I cannot stand keyhole histories. History of the color yellow, history of one particular kind of rhododendron, and also the incredibly popular history of one year. I ordinarily can't stand those. They almost always sacrifice the complexity of reading history in order to snag readers, when what you want to do instead, since that's a lie, reading history is complex. History is a complex subject. So instead of dropping the complexity in order to trick readers into reading your book, what you want to do instead is write complexity in such a way that it intrigues your readers on its own, which is not impossible. Most readers are what we used to say in Southie, wicked pissa smart. If you do complexity right, they'll jump right in. That diatribe notwithstanding, I can't wait to read this. Reagan and Drop-Off and a World on the Brink. That sounds fantastic. Okay, then a Vietnam memoir, a book about being a nerd called Forever Nerdy. Iraq and Afghanistan memoir. A heavy metal memoir. Okay, this is all very contemporary. Are we going to get any kind of... Da Capo does a great line of history and biography. Are we going to get any of that? Well, okay. Here we get one. It's called Sword and Scimitar by Raymond Ibrahim, and the subtitle is 13 Centuries of War Between Islam and the West, which is great, but it's 288 pages long, which is the length of your footnotes for a book that has that kind of a subtitle. So what kind of a job is it going to do? It's going to cross book editors' desks, and the most they will do is say, well, I have so-and-so on my roster, and he wants a chance to write about the subject of Islam and the West, and this book will be the reason why. But it'll be only perfunctory as a review, because 288 pages, I don't know. We shall see. Now, see? Okay, Sword and Scimitar, subtitled 13 Centuries of War Between Islam and the West, is 288 pages long. And in the very next page, we get a book called The Swamp Fox with the subtitle, How Francis Marion Saved the American Revolution. Francis Marion was the Swamp Fox, an unconventional guerrilla military genius of the American Revolution. And that book is 400 pages long. Okay, and great. 400 pages is about what you would need to set the stage and then dig into all that you can about Marion's campaigns, including there's a vast amount of work, primary field work, that has been written up in monographs and in specialty journals, but has never been done into a comprehensive popular history. 400 pages is about how long you need to do all of that. But 400 pages is still about half the length of what you would need to do 13 centuries of war between Islam and the West. So, I don't know. Kind of curious about that 13 centuries, too. But, well, anyway, let's see here. Okay, the next book is another rock and roll memoir, this time from the Sex Pistols, Steve Jones. And then another Afghanistan memoir. This is very contemporary. And then I think we're going to paperback now. This is a book about sleep, book about organizing your life, book about nimble thinking, cookbooks, more cookbooks. More cookbooks. Okay, all right. Oh, more cookbooks. All right. I seem to have wandered into a cookbook section here. Here, let's try and get out of that as fast as possible. This is okay. This is a lot of this is contemporary. Maybe it's possible that that there's a different catalog, or maybe this is the theme they're going for the spring and summer. Maybe so. And it doesn't look like they're going to do a paperback section at all. No, they're not doing a paperback section at all. Okay, so for the request sheet, there will be definitely a half a dozen things that I want. So Okay, so there you go. That is a mail haul with a. So we start with a catalog, which is whole world unto itself, and then how are we going to do this so that it doesn't fall over? We have the Last Cowboys, about a family in Utah trying to hold on to their way of life. And then The Rise and Fall of the Dinosaurs. I hope I'm not invoking bad luck for the Wright family by putting those two books together. No editorial comment was intended. And then Everyone Knows You Go Home, about a persistent ghost. Doesn't that sound fascinating? Then Behind the Mountains, which is, I gotta do the rap again. Cursed Place, A Cold Case, and a Killer Who Left No Trace. And then the last three things are these three great Penguin classics, all for, all as part of a set to commemorate Black History Month. But the thing about Penguins is they're all the time and they're forever. So there you go. That's another mail haul. Quite interesting. A couple of these things I want to dig into right away. Of course, I can't because I'm still cleaning up 2017. But maybe I can exempt Penguin Classics from that rule since they don't really belong to any time or space. How's that for a nice line of self-justification? Because I think I would like to read Black No More again. And I think I'd like to do that right away instead of waiting. But one way or another, I'm sure I'll keep you updated. But in the meantime, I will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.